410's Tape. This is episode 9. Thanks for joining me.
9's my lucky number.
We got Dean Reynolds, from the director of DIRTcar Northeast. Dean approached me. It was Motorsports Expo on
Saturday Motorsports. Or Sunday. Yep,
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And said, hey, I'd like to be part of this and maybe clear the air a little bit for some misconceptions that may be out there, and be transparent and let you know what took place, the series of events that took place, and the reason why things went back the other way with it. So with that, we'll jump right into it. I believe it was the first week of February, roughly right around there, within the first 10 days of the month of February. DIRTcar Northeast, yourself and Mark Hitchcock signed off on a rule change, and that was for rebuilt 602 crate motors. And it was, if your motor was rebuilt, or if it had to be torn apart for any reason because you dropped a valve, or had the cylinder head had to come off because you broke a rocker stud, or whatever the case may be.
Or you had to have a black seal.
Or you had to get a black seal,
Yep.
which indicate the motor was taken apart. A new one is blue seal, correct?
Yes.
So the discrepancy there was, okay, if your motor is untouched but it still has blue seal, it's brand new, or it could be a year or two old but still has the blue verification seal, you can weigh 2375. If it had the black seal, it was 2425. So there's a 50-pound break for the new guy, or for the guys with the newer motors or one that's untouched.
Yes.
For me, I wasn't concerned with it because I go across scales at 2430, 2435 every week anyways, even with 2400. To get my percentages right, me being a bigger guy, I need to add lead to the car. That rule didn't affect me. I did come out on social media and say that, it hurts, in my opinion, it hurt the average racer who maybe they aren't a top 5 guy. They put in the effort that the top 5 guys are, but they're just not quite there yet on the racetrack, and maybe some of their equipment isn't as good, or the setup isn't as good, or whatever the case may be. Those teams that are family teams, mom, dad, sister, brother drives the race car, and it's a family ordeal. In my opinion, I came out and publicly said, this rule hurts them. Because in their eyes, in order for them to be competitive, that 50 pounds makes a big deal to them. They don't look at, what do I actually cross the scales at after the night? They look at, that 50 pounds it's gonna kill me. And I'm already struggling, and where am I gonna make it up? And I can't afford to buy lightweight this and lightweight that. I just can't do it. So my point was that I was advocating for the average racer that shows up to our racetracks and races with us every weekend. And there are hundreds of them across the whole DIRTcar sanctioning body up here in the Northeast. We talked about it. So what happened to make that rule come about to begin with?
Yeah, so during the our annual meetings in the banquet, we get together in November. And right before then, John White actually came out with what his decision was going to be for Fulton Burton, where he was going to allow just the GM body cap motors only, and that was what he wanted to do. So then we started talking about that, and we actually had even people on Zoom during the meeting and stuff like that. Why did all of a sudden this came about? And then in discussion during the meetings, we found out that there is a perception. I'm going to use this word perception a lot because perception feels racing. Yes,
is accurate because that's what people think is going on, because that's what they hear, not what they know. You're here to clear up what people should know.
I'm also, perception and rumors do start from something.
Somewhere.
And then it's like that fish started this big and then you caught it and it was this big. But you don't poo-poo them because they had to start somewhere. So you want to find out why they started. Well, now, the perception was going on out there, and then there was a couple of motors that that we heard during the year that were questioned, and all of a sudden there's talk that there's some teams out there that would get a brand new motor, and they would say it overheated or I did something to that, and then they would go to the repair centers And then all of a sudden it seemed like that motor was performing a little bit better. Maybe because the driver went on and won immediately after that motor's over. But then there was also concerns. Why is a motor going to the repair center after 30 laps? These things don't break a lot and whatever, or overheating. I don't know, but that's what we've been hearing. So we heard it during the meeting. Then in discussion during the meeting, we found out that a couple other tracks were actually going to follow suit. And just, because they were hearing the same things, and they go, well, we don't want to get these, these motors here that are supposed to be better now than the new ones. We don't want this, we don't want that. Well, two things came about after our meetings in November. We do trust our repair centers. We do trust. They're handpicked because Mark Hitchcock has done business with them before when he was doing the sealing. They were all done properly. He trusts them, so we handpicked them. And then we added two others that Don Blackshear trusted, which is 955 out in Erie, and then Will Hall, who I knew for my sprint cars, out in New England area, out in Vermont. So I helped out Butchie out in Bear Ridge to have a repair center there. But all these were handpicked by us. Then a lot of people didn't realize that they do have to sign law-abiding contracts to be part of this program. So a lot of people did not know that either. We know that, but when we started this program, and I don't want to get off the track, but just to add a little color to it, when we started the program, it was back in 2020. And right at March, if you remember, we were going to have Don Blackshear come up. We have our annual tech meeting with all the tech inspectors at the track. Well, on March 16th, 2020, what happened?
Well, we got shut down.
We got shut down. And we did not have that meeting.
No, we
We didn't have it again in 2021 because of COVID, because we were still in restrictions.
Some of your tracks couldn't get across the border at that point.
Yes.
Either,
So the tracks didn't get fully educated on how the program works, only through our emails and our talks and everything else. But we had Don Blackshear come in to show what the program does. So the program over the years has developed, I think, better than I thought. We have 1,470 motors verified.
That's pretty impressive.
1,470.
And that's across both divisions, correct?
Yes, Pro Stocks and Sportsman. And we've had teams from PA and Jersey come up to get verified in case they do want to come to Oswego or go to Charlotte. So they've done that. We also had some drivers down in that area wish that they had that program. And I'd like to introduce it to the PA Jersey tracks because they like to do their own seals. Well, now they got to have 5 different seals to go to different PA and Jersey tracks. Or here,
if
you just one seal.
Yeah, if they just do the DIRTcar verification, that would, if they're,
yes.
It doesn't matter what tires they run, but we're talking about the engine of the car.
Engine, this crate engine's a crate engine.
Yep.
So now to get back to November, so John was going to do what he was going to do, and then we heard a couple other tracks were going to follow suit because they were kind of hearing the same perception. We're like, hold on, let's set up a meeting here. Let's get talking, find out why, what's going on. And let's get everyone together. So we invited every single DIRTcar sanctioned track to be on a Zoom call. And I remember it was November 30th. So it was 2 weeks after our banquet. So we got everybody there. And we had 8 tracks participate on it. Not everyone could be there, but we had 8 tracks participate on it. We had a 3-hour Zoom meeting. And we went back and forth. And we had Don on there as well. We had Don Blackshear there, all my tech team, myself. We were all on there. We went back and forth on what's going on and what the perception is on this. And then, we brought up that we are going to enhance the reporting from our repair centers to do our job, to maybe take it to the next level. Because this is really the first time they've heard from Don. Some of the promoters called Don one-on-one, but this is the first time we really had them together in front of our promoters for several hours. So after about 2 hours in the meeting, all of a sudden a voice spoke up and says, well, instead of not going to this route, why don't we do a 50-pound brake for the bottle cap motors? And it was almost like a mic drop. Everyone just went quiet and everyone started thinking. And then we brought up, okay, let's discuss this. So what we're saying now is still allow repaired motors, but if they're repaired, they have to weigh somehow, some way 50 pounds more than a new bottle cap motor. So that discussion went on for like 45 minutes. And all the tracks that were on that was like, this is something, this is good. I think we're onto something here. So, but I only had 8 tracks out of the 15 on that call. So then I said, well, before we do anything, let me talk to the other tracks as well. But as I went around the room, I asked, are we all in agreement of the 50 pounds? And then let me and Mark and my tech team, Mike Welsh and Mike McGinn, come up with how we wanted to do the 50 pounds. And they said yes. And I said, well, we'll discuss that and let me talk to the other tracks. So I sent out an email to all the other tracks that weren't there and said, this is what came about in the Zoom meeting. You know, what are your feelings? Some got back to me, some didn't get back to me, but that's okay. They're busy. Most tracks race, you know, they don't have a Corey Reed that's a full time. Most tracks, they're doing their own jobs.
Yep.
I get it. So, but I heard from enough that, okay. So I said to Mark and Mike Welsh and Mike McGinn, I said, well, it looks like we're in favor of the 50-pound difference, you know, with the tracks. So what do we want to do with the weights? So we went back and forth and we felt, well, we didn't want to go to 2350. Bobby thirsty. so by the way, count how many messages and calls we'll get this time. So, but we said, now let's decide. We didn't want to go down to 2350 because the concern is the lightweight parts on these cars.
Well,
we hear there's people spending a lot of money on these.
There's
lightweight
very
parts.
few people I think they could make 2350, and they're under the weight of 130 pounds.
Yeah.
I would say.
But we didn't want to go 2450 because we didn't want to really make somebody that has earned the right to get down to that 2400 now to
Go back the other way.
Yeah, go back the other way. Yes.
Essentially where we were in 2019, roughly,
Yeah.
anyways.
So we kind of felt, let's split the difference. You know, so they're not adding on too much weight. They're not taking off too much. They're not buying this. So we felt, let's just go middle of the road in difference. So I sent out another email to say, okay, here's our proposal that we want to do. And before we send out the bulletin, do we have any objections or anything else? The only one that got back to me, and I'll say the track, the only one that got back to me is Albany, Saratoga. Lyle wanted to stay at 2400. He says, I don't think there's a problem. I'm good. And even Paul Cole actually got back to me and he says, I don't think I'll probably go any different either because I trust the program. And he says, I'm happy with the program, so I'm probably going to stay put. So we said, okay, but we still have the majority, you know, and again, we talked to the tracks. We even talked to, and you mentioned about drivers. We still talk to actually some drivers. We talk to chassis builders. We do talk. Mark actually does a lot of that. He gets on the phone and we pay him to do phone time where I can't necessarily do all that because of everything else and stuff. But we did get some opinions and stuff like that. And then we said, okay, so we agreed to 2375 to 2425. We thought that was a good middle of the road. There's a little bit of adjustment on each side, but not as big if we went 50 under or 50 above.
No, you kind of
We
split
it. We thought would be a better way to do it, safer way to do it, whatever. So we sent out the bulletin. We sent out the bulletin of the difference in the weights, and you know, there was some feedback on Facebook.
No, there was quite a bit.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad. You know, a lot of people actually, when they sent out the bulletin, what the biggest surprise wasn't the weight. They didn't know if they had black or blue seals on their cars. Yeah, but that's okay.
That's one of those things.
They just didn't understand what that meant because they get their motor repaired or whatever. It's sealed. Okay, it's sealed. I'm done. And I know I'm good because you look at the green. Everyone knows. Look at that green seal. You know, and stuff. So, but we did get some questions and everything. We said this is what we felt, but the main reason why, after we wanted to go this way, is we didn't want the tracks to go to where you can't have a black sealed engine. There are a lot of people out there that do. There's over 550 DIRTcar members, Sportsman. There's probably a couple hundred that have a black sealed engine. You know, and so now we had a couple tracks that didn't want to have them compete. We didn't want that to happen. That's why the original reason why the Zoom call came on. So we came up to that agreement with the 50 pounds. Everyone seemed to be in agreement. And then, an article came out in Mary Auto, and John decided to stay with what he wants to do.
Yeah, Fulton Brewerton released that press release the day after DIRTcar released the 2375, 2425.
Which, that's okay. It's his job. I mean, if that's what he feels needs to be done, it is what it is. You know, people have come up to me and said, well, why should they stay DIRTcar sanctioned? Well, I said, well, in our book, a track does have a right to deviate from the rule book if they want to. We don't want them to, because we think as a whole it's better. Unity's better because guys can travel around, know what the rules are and everything else. But he made the decision, so it's okay. But we're going to keep them sanctioned because, we got guys that still can race there that want to do the series. I don't want to take that away from them.
Right.
I don't want to take that away from them.
You're not looking at, you're looking at the bigger picture.
Yes, the nucleus of the Sportsman series is Central New York. And there's people that are going to run both tracks because they do have new engines and everything else. Yeah. I don't want to take that away from them. So that's why, we're still going to stay with that. So, okay, so we got that. And then all of a sudden now, this track sent out a bulletin. This track sent out a bulletin.
I think there was 8.
This track sent out a bulletin.
7 or 8 that said, we're not going to follow that rule.
Yeah, we're not going to.
My question, and I haven't reached out to any of the racetracks itself, but after that all transpired, was
where did it come from on a racetrack side? Was it racer driven? Like, did they have enough phone calls then say, hey, this is BS, this, that, and the other thing, and voicing their displeasure, or maybe they just weren't educated on it, but they didn't know the seals, or whatever the case may be, was enough pushback from the racers in the tracks, like, you know what, let's just stay 2,400 and we'll call it a day.
It was a combination of everything. It was a combination of that. It was a combination of, there was a lot of feedback of a lot of other people said, this ain't really a big problem. And then also we provided stats. Ever since the sealing program has come in, we haven't had a Sportsman driver dominate. If you notice, there's more winners across the board.
Yep.
A lot of people say, we agree with the sealing program. We say it works. Does it need to be tweaked? It might need to be tweaked here and there. Yes, everything does.
Yeah, but
everything
well, here's the other thing on the sealing program and from a racer perspective. The fines and the penalties are so steep under the dirt car banner that lose motor, lose your points, you're out for $1,000. Yeah. You're out for a year under any dirt car track. Yeah. Like that's pretty steep. You know what I mean? Like that's just in motor alone. If
you would think no one would want to do it.
I would want to.
And then there are these repair centers, because when we introduced this program, these repair centers have done very well financially. They've made good money on this. We don't get a kickback. We haven't made a dime on this. So DIRTcar doesn't get a kickback at all. But I think it was needed. It proves, and repair centers have turned down, since it started, almost 50 motors that when they got there, said, whoop, this ain't right. You can't even do it.
I know.
We've gotten some motors. Now, innocent moters or not, or innocent people or not, who cares?
Some guys might end up like this motor that's right here.
Buyer beware, and you just don't know.
Yeah, it's just an old bottle cap motor. Yeah. It came out of the asphalt car. You know, that's not sealed. Yeah. Say someone wants to buy this, they want to run dirt car with it, and they take it to Hunts or wherever they take it to get it verified. Well, it's got to come apart, and someone's got to look at it. Yeah. Well, they're going to look at it, and if they look at it and they see, oh, this has been tweaked, that's been tweaked, this been tweaked, and this been tweaked, and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't seal this. They're not going to put their livelihood in jeopardy for a couple bucks on one motor.
You wouldn't think.
Well,
you wouldn't think, but I've been in the racing game for so long, 35 years, and I've seen a lot of crazy shit. But so now we've seen these bulletins. So now this track's doing this track's doing that, this track's doing this. But in all the bulletins, when the series comes, you remember we're going to conform to dirt rules. But then we're like, okay, so seems like they're all just want to go back. Whatever reason, that's okay. Whatever reason. The tracks have to do what's best for their tracks. We provide guidance, we provide a rule book, and we hope that they follow, because when me and Mark stay up late at night and then we're on the conference calls with the other two mics, it's all about to help the tracks and help the competitors.
That's
2. 3, because you missed the text message.
Oh, I heard that one. So if anyone's keeping track at home, we're at 3. 3.
So, but now, is it gonna be perfect for everybody? No. But between big blocks, 358, Sportsman, and Pro Stocks, 1,000 people to think of. And all our rules are try to benefit the most, the best we can. Has there been mistakes made? Yes, absolutely. We learn. We all learn. So now getting back to the tracks, putting out all these bulletins, me and Mark got together and then we called Mike and we said, look, let's, you know what? We don't want this track to do this. People are confused. Now I got to wait $23.75 at this track, but this one's $2,400. And then when the dirt series comes, I got to worry about blue and black seal. We have to tech all these cars and all this and all that. We said, let's get another call together. Let's get another Zoom meeting together. Mm-hmm. So just recently, whenever that bulletin was, I think beginning of February, we had another Zoom meeting, and this time it was participated by every track but 2.
That's pretty good.
Every track but 2 was on this one. We came up. We said, look, we don't care where you want to go. If you want to stay with the 50-pound difference, if you think that's the best, we'll support you, and then we'll keep the rule as is. Mm-hmm. But if you feel you want to go back to the standard where the 2,400 pounds were, we're okay with that. We'll, quote unquote, I even said, we'll take the bullet, because DIRTcar is going to get ridiculed for doing this. But I don't care. We don't care. We're doing what we feel is right or what the tracks want, which hopefully keeps the competitors happy, or most of them, the majority. So that Zoom call was only 45 minutes.
Amazing how that worked.
It was only 45 minutes, and we'd all decided to go back to the 2,400. I called the 2 tracks that weren't on that, basically they already said they wanted to be at 2,400 anyway. So this is probably why they were busy and stuff like that. So they said, but in that call, we did say, we are still going to make sure that we are going to do difference in the repair centers. If somebody says they have an overheated motor, we are now going to see what is done with either a Zoom, a Facebook Live, or we're going to send a DIRTcar official there. Not that we don't think the repair centers aren't doing anything, but we want to see.
But what it may not be if the repair center is being told, hey, my engine, got up to 250, 260, you got really hot, I'm really concerned about it. When you take a look at it, did it really happen? Now, is it a racer trying to take advantage?
That's the reason why more.
I want to clarify that it's not on the repair center.
No, that's
but the repair center is going to do their job.
Yeah. Well, and we're saying this too, also to maybe educate a little bit, like if this is what you think is going to happen, maybe you want to think twice as well.
Yep.
Now, the other thing that we're going to do is when we had our tech meeting last Saturday during the show, every track was there, but two, not the same two, but two, well attended, 6 hours. Don Blackshear was there, and Don Blackshear took apart that crate engine as much as you could take it apart without taking a seal off to show what to tech. So now, and a lot of people were like, I didn't realize that. There was shit I didn't even know about. There was a phlegm, this, him, this, that. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And he's just, and everything got done within like 45 minutes. You could check 7 different things, like 45 minutes. And they're like, wow. So that meeting wasn't, a lot of people said, oh, DIRTcar is going to change the rules again. That meeting wasn't to change the rules. It was to help out local tech at the tracks to show what you got to check to enforce those rules.
Well, you can offer the tools and offer the education, but at the end of the day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, it needs to be followed through.
Yeah, and I tell you what, tech is the worst job.
It's unforgiving.
Tech is, the shit goes downhill and you're sitting there on the bottom with a bucket collecting it.
Yeah.
That's tech.
Yeah, but the problem is it came out of a 55-gallon drum, so it's gonna get all over.
So, do some tracks might have the tech guy they want? Probably not. They're not that they're not educated, but they need to be taught different ways to do this and that. They're good people, but it's hard to find good people to do this for very little. Mm-hmm. Racing, as you know, right here, is investing a lot for very little in return.
I don't know. I don't know if you can put a price on fun.
No,
I have a ton of fun.
But you get that with officials. I did that for 25 years with ESS, trying to find people to travel around and do that. I did that with the Super DIRTcar Series and my DIRTcar officials. You mentioned you take vacation to go racing. My officials take vacations to go work.
Yeah.
So it's tough to find good people. But you put good people in charge, like Don Blackshear of the program, Mark Hitchcock, Mike Welch, Mike McGinn, Ed Brassmaster helps us out. We have good people to help out the local tracks so they can do tech, the best they can during the week. And then when the series still comes to town, we tell the tracks, don't have your tech guy take the night off. Have him still come with us, work with us, and we'll show you what we're going to check here on the series race.
Yeah.
So to start from, November to February, that's what happened. We felt we were doing what was right with the tracks, what they wanted back then. They thought they were doing what's right. Now, whatever the kickback was after that bulletin went out, so be it. So be it. I mean, people want to dwell on it, but no, maybe, they didn't know what was going to happen or what they thought, and come to find out, it's not that big of a problem, I guess, per se.
No.
But there's still a perception, but we're going to do our part to make sure we enhance to make sure that perception gets killed.
Well, I know a lot of it. People in the shadows doing this, and I've checked with, my sponsor, who is a repair center. I've called multiple repair centers, not giving my name because I don't need anybody to know that I'm calling. Mm-hmm. And I've asked them, hey, I've got a motor. It's overheating, it's been a problem. Really down on power. I'm just getting killed. What is the value in a rebuild? And every one of them told me the same. Less than 5 horsepower, less than 5 torque. And I called 3. So I find it very hard to believe that within the course of a week, they all would have the same answer and be in cahoots, and they're on the phone with each other like, oh, someone just called, so make sure you're saying this. No, they're saying that because that's what it really is. It's not, you're not gaining 20 horsepower out of this damn thing. It's just not happening. So the perception, it comes from some racers are hearing this because maybe someone had a rebuilt motor, and you know, they hit the stride right out of the box with it. You know, they nailed the setup. The track was right. The temperature was right. They picked the right tire. You know what I mean? Everything just lined up, and it happened to be because they put a new fresh motor in it. Doesn't mean that motor did all the work. There's many of other combinations on these cars that makes those things fast. So the perception comes from racers, and I know from a couple engine builders who say, "Oh, you're going to gain this. You're going to." Well, now you're just putting out a lie because it's not true.
Yeah. Well, and you know, motor builders have been known throughout the years because, especially during the open motor, you'll see it open motors all over the place. Oh, we all know that.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, Don Blackshear takes this personally, and Mark takes it personally. We, you know, with these repair centers, we basically tell them, we've given you something. Don't fuck this up.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we kind of basically said it, because if you do, their lives are going to be ruined. Now, are some of these motor builders smarter than we are? Who knows? I know they're smarter than me, but who knows? I mean, they are a master at their craft. But God, I hope they won't be doing anything. And we're going to make sure that you know, everything is up and up. But it could be competitors too. It could be a carb they're doing. It could be a headers they're doing. I don't know. You know, we're going to try to find the boxes. We found a cheated up box.
Yep.
You know?
can buy that right out of Charlotte and whatever.
And by the way, we know all about. We talked to Brzezinski. We talked to these people because when we call them, they have to tell us. Matter of fact, the box that we caught at Fulton is the manufacturer of it told us what to look for. Mm-hmm. So don't think that this is going to be a big secret.
Your MSD checker that you have in the trailer.
Yeah.
You can pull this box. Here. Happen to have one right here.
Segue.
So you can pull this box right here off the car. Obviously, it's unhooked. Plug your tester in because it runs off of 12 volts. Plug your tester in, set it, your tester, your MSD tester. If this runs up and stays right at 6,000 like it's supposed to, you have a good box. If it hits at 6,000 and runs past it, you know something's wrong here, and it's a simple verification. It's just that easy. Now, you guys have had that opportunity to check some of that stuff, and I've seen some of that stuff checked. Going forward, heading into the season, and we're still only talking about the Pro Stock and the Sportsman guys. We'll get to the big block and 358s here shortly. But going forward, what is your tech at series races, or even guest appearances on a regular Friday night or Saturday night? How extensive are you looking to get into it? Because I know you have told me before, you can check multiple things in 10, 15 minutes and get a really good idea what's going on with that car without keeping a guy there for 45 minutes. Because you do have other cars coming off the track getting to the scales and tech barn.
Well, what we do in series races, believe it or not, is we actually single down now to one thing, but we change it every race. Mm-hmm. We change it. It might be fuel. It might be tire samples. It might be tungsten. It might, you know, whatever. I'm not the best.
You're looking at the Tesla, the module, and at Ransom.
But we've gone to where in Pro Stocks, we took the body panels apart and traced all the wiring behind the dash. Yeah,
Malta. The whole car went back to the trailer on the deck.
We checked tires. Now we've checked tires 2 races in a row. Because the thought is, okay, they check something different every race. Yep. So they checked tires yesterday.
Well, they're going to check it.
They ain't going to check it today. They ain't going to check it. We've done fuel 2 races in a row.
You know,
so we mix it up.
You know, if you don't cheat, you don't have to worry about getting caught, right?
Now here's the so Chad Canals became a millionaire fighting gray areas, though. But
hey, I've played in those areas.
But in a lot of people don't believe this. I don't know what they're checking. I let my tech team do it. I have no idea what they're going to check. I don't know until at the end, and I said, "What'd you check tonight?" Mm-hmm. Because that's their deal.
Yeah, but what's it matter? You don't need to know.
It doesn't. But I feel also I put my trust into my staff.
No, you have a good staff. If you have questions with any of the guys, really, you have a question, go up and personable. Hey, we're going to check this. You know, after the race, we're going to check this. Go ahead and get your tools or whatever. If they have the tools, they will loan them to you. Very friendly staff. Very knowledgeable, and well coached and trained and versed. So I have no complaints. The only thing that I would say from a racer's perspective is if you have the time, go a little bit further with it. Maybe do a little bit more tech instead of just doing, like, if you're going to do fuel. That's going to take 3 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Dive into something.
Although in a
somewhere.
crate engine, I think fuel is important these days.
Well, you know what? You'd be surprised what you can get out of the pump.
I know. We're working on that right now. No, I know what you're saying, but when you do 5 guys, and then also you have to be conscious if there's a race after the race, dirt is still going to be in the air and stuff. So we look at that. Is this race going to be the last race of the night? Or is this race, there's still going to be 2 races after that? Or we come to this track, okay, we have use of this bar in here that we can do. You know, I mean, does it happen often where it's a real extensive, we pull 3 cars in and it's, 40 minutes per car? No.
No.
But that'd be a little, we do the big races, Oswego's pretty extensive. We bring in Don Blackshear. Charlotte's been extensive at times.
Yep.
Especially if we don't have to run the invitational right after the feature.
Nope.
Sometimes we got to run the invitational. We're like, well, guys, you're going to get lucky with the Easy Tech gone.
Yep.
Go get your car ready for the invitational.
And then, I think my most expensive tech this past year was at Malta, there at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And like I said, every body panel was off this car, and Cameron Tuttle and his father helped me through tech, and we had everything stacked on the rear deck to put it in the trailer. Now, my question is, if we're going to do something that extensive, can we at least do it at the trailer so we ain't got to truck parts and pieces all over the place?
Well, normally we do tech at the trailer, actually. We do, more times than not. It's funny you say Malta. That's the night I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and take an engine 3 hours up the road.
Yep.
So
that was the night.
I was the one that took it. Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, most tech though, especially on the Super DIRTcar series, we tell them to go right to the trailers because we find it's just easier to bring the tools. Everyone thinks, oh, they're going to do something to the car. No, what we're going to tech, they're not going to be able to do to the car.
Yeah.
We just want the tools to be there. So in case we do have to put the car even in the trailer a little bit, to just keep it a little bit cleaner and stuff like
just
that.
in case it starts raining, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's actually 9 times out of 10 we do go to the trailers.
Yep. I've been tech more times at the trailer than I have been at the tech barn.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome. Thanks for being transparent with that. I appreciate that.
Well, I want to get into that because you mentioned about transparency where you felt it lacked a little bit.
Yes.
The issue though is, and again, we had our personal thing, which is fine.
Yep.
Where I'm taking full blame. I didn't get back. But the transparency is tough because there's so many out there. There is transparency going on, but it's probably not going to hit most of the racers because it's calls to engine builders, calls to a tech, it's calls to a lab, it's calls to this, it's calls that, and it's so hard to say, oh, by the way, we're checking this to make it transparent because it's such a wide range. It's just different. I'm not saying it because I'm there and I don't want to do it. No, it's just it's almost an impossible task to really be as transparent as you can until you see that bulletin come out.
Yeah.
But I'm here. We're already 30 minutes in to talk to you about how 2 bulletins came out.
You can see that timer on there?
No, I just guessed. But that's what goes on, but it's tough to make transparency because, like I said, with 1,000 competitors, but you don't know which division it could be. To let them know what's going on, that's an impossibility until that bulletin comes out. But when a bulletin comes out, you can be rest assured, oh, Dean had 5 beers one night and had something hit him in the head, and let's go do this.
He wrecked on iRacing.
Yeah, you can be sure it's not that. You can be sure there's hours upon hours upon hours.
Listen, I don't doubt that in one bit. It's just more of along the lines of let's get the information out there now that the dust is settled. We're set in stone moving forward for this year. With our weight, with our motors, with how we're going to be teching these cars, especially the engines. It's set in stone. This is the plan. This is what we're doing. Obviously, the plan could deviate at any given time.
Yeah.
However, I think me and you talked, it was important for the transparency for the racers to see and know, the sponsors that help put these shows on by funding these drivers and helping these teams out with tires and fuel and everything, and fuel to get down the road. Yeah. The racetracks, I think, the fans even.
Well, but there was a little bit of transparency, and I'm glad you mentioned that, though. We did have an article in Area Auto when we were going with the 50-pound differential. See, there was transparency.
I don't have Area Auto.
But I just want to say there was transparency.
See, well, there it is.
Yeah, so there was something. Nothing is kept secret. That's the one thing. It might not be announced yet because we want to make sure we dot the I's and cross the T's. Now, if you did a reversal, it's not that we didn't dot the I's and cross the T's. It's like when I was in a cell phone store, when I worked for AT&T, The iPhone will come out with iPhone 10. You think it's the greatest phone in the world. All of a sudden, 30 days later, there's a recall or an update. Why? Because when you put it out to thousands of people to do different things to it, you thought you had all your bases covered until it goes to the public. And then they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize this could happen. You know, and that could happen to us.
Yep.
And that's probably what happened with the league.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
So there it is. That is transparency at its best right there. Thank you. Let's look ahead this year. We'll start in the pro stock division. What do you see taking place? Does Nick Stone come back and run dirt, or is he going to stay over at Fonda? You got Coonrat, Cousin Luke. You've got some really tough hitters in that pro stock division that could come up and win this title if they follow the whole series. What are your predictions?
Well, it's easy now to say it's up to them. Because guess what? DIRTcar, Fonda, and Utica Rome have the same exact rules other than fuel and tires.
There it is.
So now it's up to them.
Yep.
Now, matter of fact, Fonda Speedway updated the rule book right down there. It says 2023 DIRTcar rules are followed with the follow exceptions. America Racers, Sunoco, fire bottles is highly suggested. That's it. There's the list. So now, wherever they want to go, they got to bring the same car.
Same car,
Same rules.
same rules. So
It's up to them now.
The only difference is well, you're gonna have 2 sets of tires. You're gonna race Friday night at Utica, and Saturday night you're gonna go run down here or over here, or whatever your plans are. So it's could be wide open. I mean, as far as that goes.
See, now, you know, the Brett Dale and the STSS have different rules than we do in the other divisions and stuff, but there's enough cars. Pro stocks, there's only 100 of them out there.
Yep.
And for that division, not necessarily to grow, but get the stability back. And for whatever, I mean, the car's hiked up or whatever. I mean, but we came to agreement that this is what we need to do with the rules. You know, it's funny, when we put out that bulletin about the pro stock rules, you know, we got thrown right to the kitty and everything else. And I don't usually voice up in social media because you can't win.
No.
But there's a couple of times I voiced up and I go, that's interesting you're saying that, because you do realize after they said, well, now we got more of a reason to go to the other tracks. You do realize we just adopted what they put out last July.
Yep.
Because we wanted to go that route as well, but we don't like to do it mid-season. We don't really want to do a drastic change mid-season, so we let it ride to the end. And if you notice, who won Oswego? Who won Charlotte?
I've got nothing.
So now, but the rules are now together, and it's just up to them. So it's up to the pro stock guys. We welcome them all. I would love to see 15, 20 guys follow the series. There's only 6 races on that series because unfortunately last year there was a division. There was this, there was that, and don't get me going on that because I don't agree with it. But you know what? They lost some races because of it. You know, I had a beautiful schedule for them last year. This schedule's a little bit less, but you know what? Support these races. Come with good car counts, and I'll get you more races next year.
There it is, pro stock,
Simple as
guys.
that.
There it is.
Rules are the same.
So whether you run DIRTcar sanctioned track or short track Super Series sanctioned track, or however you want to put it, whether you run American Racers or you run Hoosiers or Sunoco Fuel or VP Fuel, it doesn't matter. One car can race both series and be competitive on both, and it'd be your choice. You could, I mean, I'm sure there's guys out there that are looking at maybe they have luxury of having 2 pro stocks. And they're looking at it and going, okay, this is my American Racer
Well,
car.
because the tires are different heights and stuff. It could be. Yeah.
And then they look at it and they're like, how can I run both series and have a shot at winning both of them? There's got to be someone out there trying to look at that.
It's up to them. I mean, we felt that for that division, we felt the unified rules were the best. In other divisions, there's enough Sportsman cars. We got our rules that we think are the best that we want to sit with. We got our 358 rules. We want to stay big block. You know, in the upper division, our whole thing is big block, big block, big block. That's where we're going to stay. We're going to stay big block.
Okay, what about what are you looking forward to with the Sportsman series? I know we've got what'd you say? That's number 4, by the way.
That one's easy. That was Discord. That's probably not a racing thing.
So you've got 4 regional races in the West, correct?
Yeah, West,
4
Central, and East.
And East.
3 up north.
3 up in the north.
Yeah.
So is that northern New York and then and then Canada being the other part of the north, or is that the north region encompass, Plattsburgh and then Brockville and Ontario.
Well, with the regions, I have to look at the tracks that are sanctioned and then look to see where I can get the races and then look at the scheduling. So we have a couple combined shows. We had last year as well. Like Can-Am's going to be a Central and a North when we go up there. But it was a midweek show with ESS during their speed week and stuff like that. There is no region per se, except it is geography driven on that. But we look at the tracks that are sanctioned. There might be a track like Canandaigua in the West region. There's got a combo show there too. It's not that far west, but to get some races in the region, I cut back the regions. I only wanted to get 4 per region. I really wanted to have one track have one race or so. We wound up getting 2 at Bear Ridge because the Easter's not a lot of tracks out there and stuff. But you got the regions down to 4 races, and it gives each track a series race. It gives each track something to look forward to as far as running a series race. So you also have your home track bonus points, as you know, and that stays the same. But the change is we enhanced the championship tour this year. We had some push from some teams about making an entire tour, but I don't think that's feasible in this day. It's just my opinion. But with the dollars, the fuel, the tow, you have a job. Every Sportsman driver has a job. Everyone. If there's a full-time Sportsman guy out there, I want to see him.
Wish I was.
Yeah. So, but we also wanted to enhance the championship tour because the championship tour almost actually started at the end of September, and then it just went on for 4 or 5 races. You had all these races all year, and then you kind of had that.
Yeah.
And it was all around Super Duper Week, and then we go up to Brockville and finish it. I did like the idea of making a bigger tour, so I talked to Corey Reed. I'm on the phone with him almost every day. I just talked to him a lot. And I said, Corey, I came up with an idea. Let's do a hybrid. We want to give each track their regions because I don't think it's feasible to have 16 different dirt car series tracks and have all these races. And, can somebody afford to go to Drummondville on a Sunday and then turn around and go to Bear Ridge the next Sunday and go out to Humberstone the Sunday after that? I don't know. I don't think they can because it is supposed to be a budget class. So, but I think we came up with a hybrid, and I said, Corey, I kind of want to go from August 1st on and have some tracks that are centrally located in a way and do the championship tour. So now how the Sportsman works, if a lot of people don't realize, you get your home track bonus points, you get your region bonus points, and then you add on after that the championship points.
Yeah, so there could be, like last year going into the championship stuff, I think it kicked off with Multi-Massive Weekend.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
There was like 3 or 4 of us that were tied for like 6th.
Yeah.
But if you look at
because
the points,
it was
like 3rd in line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as the points go. So
well, and we keep the bonus points close by. So if you say you do have a bad year or a bad region, you could still, let's still go try for the title.
You can win it, but now you gotta have some stuff.
But now you got a better chance of moving up the standings because you got more races to do it in. I believe we have 11 races on the championship tour. So, it's a little tough at the beginning. We got 2 during Summerfest. We got the Fulton and we got Canandaigua, Land of Legends. Then we go to Glen Ridge on Sunday, and then we go to Ransomville on Tuesday after that. And then we go to our September weekends. But teams got to remember, though, there is a minimum purse for those. It's $1,500 to win 150 to start. That's minimum. Most tracks actually dip in. Like Weedsport's Sportsman Classic is now part of the championship tour.
That's awesome.
Before that was used to be in early in the season. Now it's part of the championship.
Used to be part of the Central region.
Yes. Now it's a championship event.
Now you're going to have.
It's going to be a Dirt Vision with the Super Dirt Car Series and everything.
And that's huge too, is to get that publicity.
Yeah, and same thing with Summerfest. Summerfest, you're going to be on Dirt Vision. So I look at that too. So yes, we have 3 of the races midweek to start in August, but they're undercards of Super Dirt Car Series. You're going to be in Dirt Vision. I think that's pretty cool. It's rewarding our backbone class to get them showcased. And by the way, series races are amazing. I mean, I race direct a lot of them, and there's a bunch of them that go green to checker rowdy.
A lot of them.
They do. They're great races. So that's what we do with the Sportsman this year. Let's see how it plays out.
What about 358 guys? What do you got for them this year?
358s, 358s, my big focus is now going to 358s this year. We added Glen Ridge is now weekly. They got 358s weekly. Airborne has come back to do some shows up there, so we sanctioned them. Orange County, we're going to go 1 year with their rules and do a phase-in to go into dirt car rules. Really, the only difference rule they have is a gear rule. They run the same carbs and the headers and stuff. And in the series, I kind of was hoping maybe for 1 or 2 more shows, but I think we still got a decent series there. But I think the 358s are now starting to get a little steam there too. I like what John did with the purse at Fulton. I thought that was great. I think that it was needed, for that class.
Yes.
I really do think it was needed. And we're Tyler's doing very good at Can-Am, seem to be strong. Hopefully Ransomville, we got to figure out what to do a little bit of Ransomville there to help them get a couple more cars. I think they got some Canadians now that are going to come across doing some work there.
If DIRTcar funds a 358 for me, I'll go out to Ransomville.
There you go. So in the other tracks, Brockville, we got to take a look at. Brockville, it's 5. I don't know.
That's 5.
Yeah,
we're at 5.
So, which is not actually that bad.
No, it's not.
So, but Brockville, we also got to take a look at because the Canadian dollar is kind of tough, and the motors up there and the Canadian funds are getting up there in a way because parts are tough to get in Canada.
Yeah, you can see like every once in a while someone will be selling a motor out of Canada, and it'll say Canadian funds and U.S. funds and the differences.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Drummondville seems strong, but I like a little bit of the steam here. I wish we could have got Thunder Mountain to work.
Yeah.
But Thunder Mountain was out in a little bit of an island with Hoosiers, and we tried to get another track to join them. They had a good year during COVID because they were one of the few tracks that decided to race, and we thought we can keep the steam going, but it just wasn't quite there. And I actually talked to them and said, look, why don't you go back to concentrating on your modified class, which is, the whatever combo motors you can run there and stuff. Let's get you strong with that going again, and let's see what we can do. They had a vote with their banquet whether to go back to American Racer or go to Hoosier, and pleasantly surprised and happy that only one driver in the entire banquet wanted to go back to American Racers. Oh. So they wanted to stay Hoosiers because that track down there, I got Sportsman teams that ran the same set all year.
I heard that.
All year, yeah. Which you can do with full. There's a lot of good tracks you can do that too. But Thunder Mountain. So we're going back just doing Sportsman down at Thunder Mountain on Saturdays. I basically told them, don't do the 358s. You're getting 8 cars. And when you have 8 cars, that's the higher end of the purse. So you're paying $4,000 out to these 8 cars, but you're not making anywhere near that in the back 8. And really, how many fans are they bringing you? So I dissect all these numbers.
Yep.
And I said, let's get back to, getting back to a little lesser classes at the track. They're getting different clay. They're getting the same clay as the Fulton Brewerton clay now to help them out. Clay down there is wicked soft, but for some reason, clay down the southern tier has that little sand grit.
It's wicked.
It's germane to the area. That's all it is.
That's what I noticed when I raced down there. Is wicked
but when you
sandy.
truck clay, it's expensive. I mean, you can only do so much. Well, they're bringing clay down from up here, and that's not cheap. But we know if it's going to be Fulton Brewerton clay, we know it's going to be good.
They're going to provide good racing.
Yes, it's going to be good. It's not going to be tire wear. It's going to be less dusty. So that's there. So the 358s, I'm doing a real focus on them this year. A lot of study on the 358s to see what we can do to just enhance that a little bit. I like how Sportsman guys are starting to move up now. We seem to get in a few.
There's quite a few that are moving up.
Yeah, which when I came in 19, there were some guys that kept on staying Sportsman. Now we're starting to get there. I mean, so that's why I want to build up series races, build up purses, build up tracks running 358s. So they can have the migration. And then, of course, when you have the migration up north, the progression is next to big blocks. And we're very happy with the big block program now.
Yeah, big block program seems to be taking off really well. You have, I think I heard 30-something platinum drivers. Is that accurate?
No, not on that.
Okay.
No, we have, we're going to have about the same 18 or 19 to do the series.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's still good. But the series is always going to be healthy because we got purses, we got point funds and stuff. So we're going to always have a nucleus of 16 to 18, 16 to 20 guys that want to do that series, that can afford to do the series. It's still a grind. We're looking to maybe add a couple shows too. So
not to mention the cost of owning a big block. You know what I mean? Is very expensive in itself.
It's funny how you get to that. But my concern is the weekly big block tracks. So we have Brewerton, we have Land of Legends, we have Orange County, we have Lebanon Valley, we have Albany, Saratoga. I want to make sure those car counts are solid because then the series stays solid because the weekly shows are solid. Now, here's an interesting thing. We stayed the course. We were looking at this aluminum big block back in 2019, which might have been a good idea. Who knows? It's just circumstances happened where we got away from it. But now we notice that the 18-degree heads on big blocks are now kind of recirculating into the system. There's drivers out there buying good big blocks with 18-degree heads for $20,000, $25,000,
Matter of fact, I saw one.
$28,000.
I
I mean,
saw
good
one-
prices.
Yeah, I saw one yesterday for 18 grand.
Yes.
So
So New York has, everyone hears the New York slick, which I think is what we need. But you can buy a good big block now and have fun on the weekly shows. Now, is that something you want to bring to a series race? To damn, see where you are, where you're at. I get it. But something to move up to the big block to run a year or two and build up your program, and then maybe go out and get the, the Kevlar, or the Billy the Kid, or Morrison, or whatever, brand new and stuff like that. But the big blocks, by us staying the course, we've noticed that now it's starting to come back. Fields are starting to grow. More big blocks are getting out there. Are they cheap? No. Is it expensive? Yes.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of leveled it. I think we kind of leveled the spending a little bit. Because now, like I said, before it was 23-degree heads engines that were out there that everyone's selling. But now that the 18-degree head has been out there long enough, and no, I didn't vote for the 18-degree head. I heard it for all these years. It wasn't my decision. It's done and over with. But now they're out there. I mean, I'll even bring up Tanner Von Dorn. They bought a big block for $8 grand. No, they had to put 10 grand into it. But 18 grand ain't a bad big block.
No. Not if it runs well.
Yeah.
If it runs like a crate motor, then it was a bad investment.
So, I think right now, am I always on the phone to DART to make sure they are producing steel blocks? Yes. Because that is, we got to make sure we're still, the foundries are getting less and less and less. Because, you can't just build a foundry now with all these government emissions, and the old foundries are grandfathered. So, I call DART and talk to these people and everything else. And, or does DART or whoever buy blocks over in China and get them shipped over now and stuff where they can go to foundries over there? We don't know. So we got to make sure that we don't get caught with our pants down, that there's not going to be no more steel big blocks.
Yeah.
Because we know during COVID how blocks were scarce and everything else.
Everything was tough there.
Yeah, because some foundries that were grandfathered shut down.
Yeah, they couldn't.
They couldn't do it. So we lost those foundries.
A lot of places shut down.
Yeah.
There was very few places that were open for a long time. So, especially in industry world, I know that I was laid off I say laid off, but I think I went to work 3 days on 6 months.
Yeah.
I sat in the house and I was on iRacing every night.
So I raced races. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're always trying to just make sure that if something does happen, we're prepared. Now, am I saying no to aluminum? Yes, I'm saying no to aluminum right now. But 10 years down the road, it might be aluminum big blocks in our big blocks. We don't know.
Yep.
But we're always looking to make sure that we, in case something drastic does change.
Up until a couple of years ago, you never thought you were going to run an aluminum carburetor either.
Yeah. Well,
So.
and we actually had to because
Yeah.
they don't make them.
Right. So your hand was full.
And then we got half aluminum, half zinc carbs out there. And all that stuff.
Whatever.
But
As long as the numbers on the side are what they're supposed to be.
But it's interesting that
and
you mentioned carbs.
And your thing doesn't drop right in the hole.
But before we allowed the metal change, how many dyno runs and everything we did? How many trials we've done just to make, because we don't want to make a carb that's legal that's all of a sudden 12 horsepower more than the other one. Because now we just forced
everybody
600, 200, 350, 800 post-stock, 850 people are going to have to go out and buy a new carb because it's 15 horsepower more.
Yeah.
See, and that's the other things we got to do.
Yep.
Intakes, we're looking at the intakes right now. It's just so many things that we got to look at.
What's on the horizon for DIRTcar as far as what are some of the things that you guys could potentially be looking forward to, or maybe a surprise throughout the season, or maybe something coming down the pipeline if you can talk about it, that maybe something that racers can think about for maybe preparing for next year as far as might be a change with this or that or something like that.
Right now, believe it or not, it's funny that you say that. As far as rules, people come up to me and say, what are you going to change next year? I go, God, I hope nothing. I really do. I hope
there's one. I'll vote for one.
So,
one change.
But really right now, coming out of COVID, I think our parent company, that I work for, World Racing Group, really took the bull by the horns we were the first ones to hold a sprint car race without fans. We were the first ones to do this. And so we got proactive with that. That helped keep racing going. And then other people followed, which is good. I'm glad they were successful and did that. But coming out as COVID right now, our feet are in the ground, entrenched to keep the process going as smooth as it is. And are we looking to do different things? Yes, but we're looking to make the base stronger. You need the strong concrete base before you can start building your stories. So right now it's getting that base. We did that Bristol, which I thought was really cool. And we might look at something like that. There are, I actually don't even know where, but there's always something like that to look at. I want big blocks in Knoxville, but it's that. But
that'd be fun.
Yeah, but there's different things to look at as far as something like that. But right now, it's the Northeast, it's Oswego, it's our sanctioned tracks, it's our competitors, and you can say, oh, he's just saying that to be the corporate guy, but that really is the plan. Now, the only thing on the big block side that's very interesting to me, and really a big trial, it comes up in a week and a half. We're bringing the big blocks to Atomic. Because that is outside the nucleus some, but close enough to the nucleus where people can still go. But I want to see what our impact is outside. Yes, we bring them to Charlotte. Yes, we bring them to Volusia, but we're always on the card with the Outlaws. The fans come to see the package. Yes, big block fans might want to come see big blocks, but boy, they sure like to see sprint cars and late models too. So, but here, Atomic, Charlie Vest, the promoter, really loves big blocks. He saw them at Charlotte and he says, I want them at my track. Now, I've had other tracks do that too. I've had a track in Georgia, Indiana, and Missouri call me that had big blocks. Time out. I don't know what I can do. And you're going to be paying me a lot of money. And I don't know how many cars I'm going to bring, and I don't know how many fans we're going to bring. I'm honest with them. Do I think they're exciting? Should fans go see them? Yes. But does a fan in Missouri really care about a big block?
No.
There's still some fans that think our modifieds are the ugly ones. I think the IMCAs are the ugly ones, but it is what it is. This Atomic race, though, is going to be a good barometer to see. Our fans travel. People down in Charlotte tell me how many tickets they sell from the Northeast, and it's ungodly numbers. But will they travel to an Atomic to just see the big blocks? And will fans to the Western Lernerville Sharon fans come down? And are there Ohio fans that watch on Dirt Vision that don't come to the race and say, now I got a chance to go see them? Well, I hope a couple thousand do.
It's a great opportunity for those fans.
So that's the big thing for me this year. That's the big thing.
Good. Man, I don't know. We've covered quite a bit. More than I actually thought we were going to be able to cover.
I like to talk.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
But I have a passion for the sport. That's why I took the job.
You got anything for the racers? Maybe they can reach out to you or comment on this and start a discussion about something. Maybe you have a question you want to hear. What are your thoughts on X, Y, and Z? You got anything?
Well, I always do encourage racers. I mean, I don't hide. I'm on Facebook. I'm on this. My cell phone's out. Now, do I get back to absolutely everybody? No. I'll be honest. I think my success rate's like 92.3%.
Hey, that's still pretty good.
Because I do try. It might be a while.
If you're talking about racing and winning percentages, that's pretty damn good.
But I mean, it is tough to get back to everybody. But I do encourage. I mean, the best thing is the message, Facebook message, or text. I'll tell you what. There's a lot of people who are going to see this. Jesus Christ, Dean answered me at 2:00 in the morning. Well, that's because that's what time I'm finally going to bed, and I look through the messages I missed during the day. Now I got time to answer them. I'm there. I mean, can I get back to do everything? No. And
you don't have a secretary.
Well, I do have a little bit of Barb there, but she doesn't know racing. I mean, I say, Barb, here's a decal packets, go mail them out and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people like that. Corey Reed's one person. Brett Dale's one person. I'm one person. We all do our best. But to have six or seven. But to think that we don't listen, that's the one thing we do. Do I get on social media? Not as much as I used to, because now I'm just trying to do more and more.
You're just that guy in the background that's just laughing at stuff.
No, I just social media is it's such a beautiful tool, but it's gotten all haywire. And not just racing, it's gotten the little leagues, gun clubs, everything. But the main thing is that we care about racing. All the people that are running racetracks and doing this do care about racing. I see it a lot. DIRTcar doesn't care about the competitors. That is the number one thing we care about. Because if we don't, and there's not enough cars at the racetracks and not fans in the stands and the whole snowball, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
But whatever. I get it. I mean, when you're not happy, I get it. I'm the same way. If something doesn't go your way, you're disgruntled. You might not look at the whole picture and it's going against you. And there's decisions that I made that have gone against people, and I'm going to make more. But if the majority is happy and the minority is upset, then it's the right decision. You
Well,
know?
with that being said, led me right into something. Now, you mentioned earlier when we were talking, November, you have a meeting. Usually it's the weekend of the banquet, and then you have a Zoom meeting after that, 2 weeks after that. Then you have one in the spring. And in November, you discuss potential rule changes and stuff like that. My question to you, from racer to series Northeast guy, head honcho, what are your thoughts on, say, each division having 5 personalities that have the best interest for that division, with the average racer in mind being a part of those meetings when it comes to considering rule changes?
It's an interesting thought. When you brought that up, I've done a lot of thinking on that. I don't know the actual answer to that. As far as, do we have them in part of the meetings, or do we have that after the meetings and consult or something like that? You just gotta,
I would think,
you know,
I don't think we need to be a part of the meeting, because the business aspect is essentially none of our business.
Yeah.
The part that is our business is the outcome of that, where the guys that are spending their free time in their shop, you know, it's going to affect how well they're going to be able to compete and how much money they're going to be able to spend. Because honestly, a lot of us, especially in the lower divisions, and even a lot of the big block guys, are budget racers. We know what we can spend.
75 to 80% are budget racers.
We
in
know
every class.
Yeah, we know what we can spend.
Yeah.
So when it comes to rule changes, some of us, some of the racers, and some of us, and myself personally, we've taken it and we've been like, and we've looked at it and we're like, man, in order for me to be competitive, I got to go out and spend this much more money. So what I'm looking for is, I know that I've talked to a bunch of different people, some females that race with us and some males, and I've only spoke with Sportsman drivers. I haven't spoke with any other division, and they're all for it. So if there was a rule change in the works or something like that, hey guys, let's get together. We can do a Zoom so no one has to go anywhere. This is what we're proposing. Can we get your feedback before we move forward?
Yeah.
At least hear from us before making a change. That's what we were looking
Yeah, no, and that's something I like to look at. I really do, actually. My also goal is not to have rule changes so we need it. You know, because it's funny. I came aboard, you know, I signed on September 2018, and then came aboard fully in 2019. But here's the one thing I did say to this couple of different people. I said, what rule have I brought in that was a change? We outlawed 4 links, and now this past year, a single-sided torque arm. It's not a change. You stop something.
The single-sided torque arm was actually,
You know,
it was actually in the rule book. It was just worded a little
it was
bit.
a gray area in the rule book.
Yes,
Yes,
it was.
whatever. You know, so we made our decision. We stayed at the decision. We think it's the right decision. But if there's something that's major, and then here's the other thing that I'm glad you brought that up that people don't realize now is, and I told you, a lot of people don't realize the last 2 years we have 2 meetings each year with the 7 chassis manufacturers. So now we're actually going to do a Zoom with them coming up, probably within a week or 2 weeks, to have them to talk about 2024 rules. But really, in the 4 years, other than taking a spoiler off the back of a Sportsman, what have we done?
We've added fire bottles for safety.
Well, safety. Yeah, I should have said other than safety.
You can't put, to me, I mean, we had a lot of people complain about that fire bottle issue, but if it's in safety, I have zero. I'm not going to question it because someone's already done the thinking on that for me.
Yeah. No, but yes, but I'm not saying to poo-poo your suggestion either.
Nope.
You know, really, the only thing that we did this year that's a change that's going to come next year is that bar, the droop bar in the rear end. But that came from the chassis manufacturers. They actually wanted that because they don't want these cars to keep on digging.
Well, that's just
that came from them.
I know Bicknell's are 1-inch drop rails or 1.5-inch drop rails, and I believe Troyer's are 2-inch. There's
only
some
one
guys that
affected was Outlaw.
Yeah, there's
Because he didn't have one. But he says, I'm going to bring my 30 cars in, I'm going to put them in. He goes, because I agree with the rule. So, but to let people know, so if we do say we do a minor change on the body or something like that, the arm guard, 12 inches on the arm guard, and when the arm guards are going up like this and stuff, where that came about. It was agreement with the chassis manufacturers.
Well, if you look at the rule, it's 12 by 18. So what I've done in the past, prior to me getting yelled at in tech, was I took a piece of cardboard, and it's 12 by 18. And someone said to me, it needs to go through this way. So why the heck would you put it through that way when the chassis runs this way?
Remember the day we used to have the box. Yeah. So, but no, I know what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying. I like the idea and everything. But again, hopefully we don't need to change anything, because I hate the word spec. I really do. And everyone says, oh, they're cookie cutter.
That's the other word I hear.
They're cookie cutter. Yeah, but you know what? When you make a body rule or something, somebody's going to put that in a wind tunnel, find out what's going to make it the best. Gary Tompkins, God bless, when we talk about bodies, Gary Tompkins says in 6 months they're all going to look the same again anyways, because they're going to find out what works the best. So here you are spending all this money to make a small change, and you're right back where you started from.
That's right.
It's called lateral move. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, so having those chassis manufacturers, and now, because they tell me the new builds start in August. They all told us our 2024 car starts in August. Yep. So we're going to meet with them in March to see if there's any changes that they want or we want or whatever to talk, and they start building them in August. So we've gotten that process down.
So looking forward, say there is a change, I know that one thing that we did do, or DIRTcar did do, was that one bar there. I think that was 2000. Geez, I can't remember what year that was that we had to put those in there. All cars had to be started being made with that. That safety bar right there.
Oh, yeah.
But say you make a change to the chassis and it's got to have this in it. So
which that could be because we could have found an accident or something that we never thought of, and then we got to change this, this construction or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's something that major. Usually we'll do a phase in too. Okay. Phase ins are big. I mean, we did with that droop bar just because Dave has to get his 30 cars back and get that bar put in. So that's why we said in 2024, because he said I can get them all done in a year, and then all those new ones is done. But we don't not against phase ins. We did that with the bottle. We let people know.
Gave us a year.
Yeah, I think it was 2 actually. Or COVID came in or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we do listen to the competitors because, I listened to a seat manufacturer. He goes, Dean, here's my containment seat. This is $800. Here's my containment seat. This is $1,200. You know what the difference is? That has a label on it. That one doesn't. He goes, I build them the same. So we just mandated containment seats. And then 4 years later or 5 years later, then we're going to tell you have to get SFI seats. Now, I do like SFI because they test things and they make sure it's safe. But when we had all the seat manufacturers, there's no difference in the seats. One just has a label, one's not. So we took that rule out. Now, we kept it in for carbon fiber seats and stuff like that. So we do listen. I mean, we another thing that we don't listen to, I'm sitting here saying, looks like a good seat to me.
That's helped me.
Me being green and that kind of helped. I said, why are we, and then, but I did talk. I said, is an SFI seat better? And the seat manufacturer says, no, because we don't want them to go out in a junk seat and get hurt and then we get sued.
They're going to be safe regardless.
Yes.
As long as the person mounting the seat does what they're supposed to do.
SFI is a great corporation.
Yep.
Great corp, because you want to, like the fire bombers, we want to make sure they are SFI, so you just don't go to your local fire company and all this and all that. Just put something in that doesn't work, and that's a different situation there. So. Like
I told you at the show, if you BS your way through this, people would see through it. I don't see any BS.
There's no. I think it just makes more work. I got enough to do.
I'm with you. So, real quick, DIRTcar.com and SuperDIRTcarSeries.com. All the schedules are all there, correct?
Yes, it's unique now though. DIRTcar.com is something a little different now. We don't have the schedules out per se, but I'm going to put them in the members section and stuff like that. But what we're doing for all our sanctioned tracks now is, and I've been working on this Excel program for months, is every single race at our DIRTcar sanctioned tracks will be on a master. So now you can click on Brewerton Speedway and see their whole schedule. You can click on, but you can also click on Series, Sportsman.
Perfect.
Populates. So it's not that one pager that was really easy to look at. So we're tweaking. We might still get to that. But now, DIRTcar.com, here, probably in about 3 weeks, you're going to have every single DIRTcar sanctioned track, every single race, weekly series on there for people to go. So if you're traveling out to Vermont, you want to go to Bear Ridge, and it's July 30th, you click on it, oh crap, the Sportsman Series race is there. Let's go. So they can do that now.
One quick thing, thoughts on streaming. I'm talking about your weekly Friday and Saturday night races. I'm not talking about your series stuff, but your weekly stuff. You know, we got Land of Legends now on simulcast on Dirt Vision. I think that's huge. That's huge for Land of Legends. That's big for DIRTcar because now you have a weekly big block track.
Yes. Yeah.
That you like the fans that are. Let's be honest. The people that are going to watch that are going to be the people who can't make it to the track. They're going to be the people who are out of state. They're going to be family who can't make it to the track. The people who are going to make it to the track, your diehards are still going to go.
Well, here's the thing. I do this as an analogy. Me and Dave Farney were down at the World Short Track and World Finals. Well, that Sunday in between, the Carolina Panthers were playing at home. We spent $120 to go to Carolina Panthers game. Reason why? Football on TV is exciting. So you want to go see it live. The main way to get new people to come to our sport to watch it live is if they saw it on some sort of a streaming platform.
Well, they're not going to know if they're going to
Is it perfect? Are people going to sometimes stay home if the weather is iffy and they are one of your diehards? I get it, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to look at the overall picture. Streaming, you know, new fans are going to need to see it somewhere before they're going to pluck down $15 or whatever for a weekly show to go see it. They're not going to spend $15 to think if they're going to like it. That's why movies have previews. You know, they have 3-minute previews in the movies and say, oh, wow, that preview's cool. Let's go see the movie. So streaming's the only way. Now, does some streaming platforms cost a little bit of money? Yes. You know, Paul had a good deal where it was free, you know, and it seemed to work for him. Mike Mallet does a great job with Dirt Track Digest, you know, but he also, you know, has his type of platform. We have ours, Flo has theirs. But as far as racing on TV, you need it because it's the only way you're going to get people to come see it live. They got to see it somewhere else first.
There it is. There's the answer. Dean, thank you very much.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate your time.
We didn't even crack a beer.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
But still got some work to do. Thanks for coming out, spending your afternoon or hour, however long it is, with us. And
That was a good one.
this is 410's Take, and you just seen it, heard it first. Dean Reynolds.